Good morning, everybody. I'm chewing a little bit. Sorry about this. I did have my breakfast this morning, so there's no reason whatsoever me to be. Oh, shall we try again? There is no reason for me to be eating right now, except that I just needed that little tiny snack. You know how sometimes you just need that little tiny snack to just keep you going. And so excuse me for making a mess of things. So good morning, good morning, good morning. And first of all, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who's laughing at me as I'm trying to choke down the crumbs. So I'd like to say good morning to Grey Eagle, who is, as always, standing to my right side. And I'd also like to say good morning to Chris. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Rosemary. Good morning, everyone.
And as those of you who watched Thursday's show will know, Chris wasn't 100% feeling great. Chris, how are you feeling today?
I'm going to be feeling better by the end of the day, Rosemary.
I love that positive attitude. I really do. And so I'm going to ask everybody who's listening, is there anybody there, Chris?
Yeah, there are.
Is there anybody there? When you sort of make your comments or your questions, can you tell us where you're from? Because we love to know where everybody's from around the world. And if you could all sort of just think about Chris and send healing to Chris, that would be fantastic. And then that way, hopefully she will be feeling better as the day goes on. So, yes, what day is it today? Today is April the 2nd, is it? Or the 3rd? I can't remember.
April 3rd,
Right.
the Saturday before Easter.
Okay, so on April the 1st, April Fool's Day, my grandson came racing in to my bedroom. Mosey, 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 quick. You've got to come quick, quick, quick. There's an alligator in the pool. And I just looked at him and I said, no, there isn't. And then all the rest of the day, he kept doing the April Fool's thing for me. Sometimes he got me and sometimes he didn't. But we did a great April Fool's on Thursday. It was Reese's idea, and he said, why don't we tell everybody, Mosey, that it's Saturday and it's story time? And then afterwards say April Fool's. So that's what we did. And we did have initially a few confused people. And I think it's safe to say that we got you. So thanks to my grandson and his brilliant April Fool, we did, we got you. And we've had some lovely emails from people chuckling about the fact that they were thinking, is it Saturday? Am I mixed up, or is it Rosemary who's mixed up? So anyway, no April Fools today, but as you all know, it is Saturday morning, and yes, it's story time. And it's story time. It's hard to know. I've really pondered this morning. I've vacillated between, shall I tell them this story? Shall I tell them that story? Which story shall I tell them? Because yes, it's story time, but it's Easter, and it's so nice, to hear what other people are doing for Easter and how other people are celebrating for Easter. And it's so nice for me because, as most of you will know about me, especially those of you who've read my books, I am a Christian. In other words, I do believe that there was a man by the name of Jesus Christ who was born to this earth and who was a wonderful and a fabulous healer, a prophet, and a great storyteller, right? And so thinking about that, and thinking that what Easter is all about for us, I'm tempted to tell, in fact, I probably will tell the story. Oh, golly, what shall I do? We could go all over the place today. I might tell 2 or 3 stories. I might get stuck. So I thought, all right, I'm thinking at this very moment in time, Gregor's putting his hand on my shoulder and he says, just tell the story. So I'm going to tell you the story of my my meetings with Jesus. Now, for those of you who are uncertain about where this story is going, this is where you may think, was this the start of Rosemary being crazy? And it could well have been. Anyway, once upon a time, as all good stories must begin, when I was, just a very tiny little girl, I think it was 2 or 3 years old, my mother used to send us to the Sunday school every Sunday afternoon. My older sister and my next older sister were in charge of my youngest sister and I. And, when I think about what we used to do, because the road that the church was on was a very, very, very busy main road. It was one of the main roads that ran through the city of Leicester. And it was really busy. But those 4 of us little girls, I mean, my sister, if I was 3, 4, 5, so my oldest sister would only be 7 in charge of the rest of us, 7 or 8 in charge of the rest of us. Quite a responsibility. But, in those days, you didn't really think much about it. Nobody worried about, don't talk to strangers. You just, you were told you're going, and then you went. And there was a church very close by, actually just across the road from where we lived. But my mother, for some reason or another, did not like that church. So she sent us to the church at the top of this very busy road, at the top of Saffron Lane. And this church was called the Church of Christ. I've since been back to this church, and it's been let go a little bit. The manse, which for those of you not sure about what a manse is, the manse is the house that belongs to the church and is usually occupied by the minister, the vicar, whoever it is who runs the church. The manse was that place that I used to go to every week as I got older and became a Sunday school teacher, which is where this story is going. And so I can remember, it's only a few years ago now, I went back to visit with my brother, and my friends stopped with me, and we walked around this church, which now all the windows are barred up. It's a red brick church. It sits, anyone who knows anything at all about Leicester City, it sits at the very top of Saffron Lane, and it's a beautiful old red brick, bit run down. It might even be knocked down by now. And I thought, while I'm here, I was so disappointed, but while I'm here, why don't I go and knock on the door of the manse, and maybe they'll be able to tell me. Maybe somebody who belongs to the church there will be able to tell me. So I knocked on the door, and this very good looking, very sort of, handsome young man came to the door, and he was very nice. I said to him, look, I used to go to the church there, and I used to come into this house when I was a Sunday school teacher. And he sort of, before you knew it, there were 2 or 3 little children around his feet. And I said, I don't want to bother you, but do you know what happened to the church, or who has it now, and so on. And we had the best conversation. He was so nice, so lovely. And we had the very best conversation. And he said, well, the church isn't used anymore. It's abandoned. And, there's something about, when people say you should never go back, never look back, never go back, that might be one of the reasons that you might not want to look back, because it's such a disappointment when somewhere or a place was so wonderful for you and now is no longer. But it didn't take the memories away. And one of the first memories I remember when I walked into that church, when I was a teeny little thing, was Father Christmas sitting there with his coat and his hat and his big white bushy beard. And I remember standing far back across the hall, being absolutely awed by this enormous figure. That was probably one of my first memories of being in that church. And as I went every Sunday, and as I grew, and as I became involved with the all of the stories, all of the fantastic stories that there are, Bible stories that there are, I became enamored with Jesus. And as I got older and I sort of then got into my sort of very early teens, the stories in the Bible used to absolutely fascinate me. You know, the one where Jesus is resurrected, he walks through the town, people have the palm leaves put down for him, and he rides into town on the donkey. When the crucifixion is another story which is amazing. It is Easter after all, and this is what we do celebrate with Easter. I know a lot of people don't celebrate it anymore. They just think of the Easter bunny, and they think of the eggs, and they think of all the chocolate they're going to get, and they think of the fun that the children have, which is of course wonderful. But I can't help thinking of those times when I was a young teenager and listening to the stories of the crucifixion, and how I can't remember which of the disciples, whether it was Simon or Peter, went to the cave where Christ's body was taken to, and the stone was rolled back, and he was gone. Jesus was disappeared, and then met Thomas on the road, and he said to Thomas, "It's me, it's Jesus." And Thomas said, "But it can't be you." And you know, the phrase about the doubting Thomas is where Thomas says to Jesus, "If it's really you, show me your hands." And Jesus showed him his hands, where the holes in his hands and his feet were, and that was how we got to talk about doubting Thomas, and we still use that today. So anyway, so here I am. I'm fascinated with all these stories. I'm a young girl with a enormous imagination, very sensitive, and very keen to sort of know more about these things. And I think that knowing Christ and talking to Christ and understanding Christ was when I really, really began, from a very, very young age, from a very small child, I really began to believe in magic. Is there such a thing as magic? People say no, there isn't such a thing as magic. Magicians can explain it all away to you. But actually, from my very young days in that church with those wonderful people, Joan and Betty Burkitt, and all those wonderful people in that church who taught me the value of me, and they taught me the value of belief, and they taught me the value of hope. They taught me kindness. They were truly my wonderful and fabulous family. You know, all the time, I often get messages from people, or people email me and say, "Oh, Rosemary, we're so sorry you had such a rotten childhood." Well, you know, in one day I did have a rotten childhood, but look what I got. I got a fabulous, fabulous family in my church, and with the people in my church who loved me and nurtured me and cared for me and encouraged me to be the person perhaps that I still am today, believing in magic, believing in joy, believing in God, believing in the light and the force of God. I mean, boy, did they ever give me a gift. So as I had my child, I was always very keen to say to her, you know, there is magic in this world. We might not think it. A lot of people tell you that it's not so. I told her so many fairy stories and so many wonderful stories. One of my favorite books growing up was The Magic Faraway Tree by Enid. One of Samantha's favorite books growing up was The Magic Faraway Tree. And now, all these years later, my grandson, who has just turned 8 years old, one of his favorite books is, in fact, probably, yeah, I'm going to say, if not the most favorite book that he has. And I bought this book for my daughter. I bought a copy for Reese. I've still got a copy myself. But it's full of magic. It's full of all the fairy folk that live in the tree and go to magic lands. And one of Reese's favorite book is, again, The Magic Faraway Tree by Enid. And I think it was written, well, over 60, 70 years ago, maybe. still, and I think my book is a classic, but these absolutely wonderful books are still classics. And at the moment, I'm reading to Reese. We do 2 or 3 chapters at a time. I'm reading him The Magic Garden, which, wow, I mean, that was sort of that was written in the early 1900s. I know people have seen the movies and all the rest of it. Reading the book is amazing. So all of this magic and all of this wonderful knowledge and all of this being able to teach my daughter and my grandson that magic really does exist is thrilling for me, and came from those early days of knowing Christ. When I was 15 years old, actually 14 and a half, but really who's counting the months, I became a Sunday school teacher. Far too young, you'd think, wouldn't you think? But I knew those Bible stories inside and out. I knew, because I had wonderful teachers, I knew how to teach. I knew how to teach the kids. I knew how to spin a story so they would find the magic in it. And I knew how to sing them songs, and I knew how to get them all sitting around and in awe and thrilled, just as I had been when I was little. I knew all of those things because my beautiful, fabulous, wonderful teachers in my church, the Church of Christ, taught me all of that. And I wanted to share this story with you because, again, those of you who think I had a rough childhood, no doubt about it. Let's not put icing on the top of all of this. My childhood was harsh. My mother was, I'm going to say, cruel. My father was not cruel, but he was very tough and very harsh, and and you know, that's the way things were in those days. But yet, how lucky am I that I had all of those wonderful people who belonged to the Church of Christ, who ran the church, who encouraged all of us children to be the best that we could be. No favorites, nobody picked on, no mean teacher in there, not one mean teacher in the bunch of them. Our minister was wonderful, and it was funny because I was so very involved in the church, and as I've said, it was my family. But um, in our church, we believe in baptism, right? You sort of, you know, like the full immersion thing, you know, and you go, and uh, and you're baptized just as Christ would baptize people in the River Nile, and so every now and again, one of the elders of the church would say to me, "Rosemary, are you ready to be baptized yet?" And I'd say no, and this asked me again a few minutes, "Are you ready to be?" No, I'm not. No, no. And then we had a minister who'd come from Africa, and he talked to us about all of the things that were going on in Africa with the children there. And he talked about lots of different stories, and he told us about his beliefs. And I was listening to him. I was in the church, and behind the altar of our church, the altar was a plain wooden church, and behind the altar was this huge, big, plain wooden cross. Plain, no carving, no nothing, just a plain wooden cross on the wall behind the altar. And as I'm sitting there listening to this man talking, I was looking at the cross, as I often did, and I was talking in my own way to Christ, as I often did. And then at the end, when the church emptied and there was just me left, which I often did, I would stay behind and just look at the cross and listen to Christ. I just knew it was time to be baptized. And so when I was 15 years old, I was baptized. Our church had a big font. It was like a big bathtub under the floorboards, and I was fully immersed. It was one of the most wonderful and fabulous experiences of my entire life, and uh, it was just an amazing thing. So when you know, I was trying to say to my grandson yesterday, you know, there are things that go wrong in the day. Oh, I didn't have my ice cream. Well, that ice cream didn't taste as good as it was. And so, and I was saying to him, yes, but, you know, when we're talking and we're telling people stories, or we're talking about something that happened to us, I want you to try, I said to him, I want you to try to remember, always end the story on a positive. So For instance, I'm very unhappy because I didn't have any ice cream, or I didn't have any ice cream, but I'm very happy that I was with you when I didn't have any ice cream. So always find the positives and don't harper too much, don't hold on too much to the negatives. And when I look back at my childhood, and when I look back at Easters, my Easters were at the church. My Easters were making little palm, sort of little, let's say, what were they called, like little bookmarks and things like that out of supposedly out of palm leaves. And we didn't have Easter eggs. There was only one year that I ever remember as a child having Easter eggs, and that was when my brother bought these Easter eggs, and they sat on top of the wardrobe in my bedroom until Easter Sunday. And I remember waking up every morning for about a week beforehand, looking at those Easter eggs and wondering what they were going to taste like. Now, I could go down that road, couldn't I? If we never had Easter eggs, we only had Easter eggs one time. Or I could say, there was that fantastic time on Easter Sunday when my brother bought us these chocolate Easter eggs, and they were fantastic. I made mine last for ages. Always looking at the positive. Try not to look at the negative. Or if you go down that negative road, because we sometimes do have to vent, don't we? Try and pull out of it something that's positive and good that you can say was a good thing, even if it's only, boy, did I ever learn that things are not nearly as bad as they seem to be sometimes. So I was a Sunday school teacher, and I like to think, in fact, I know pretty much that I was a good teacher. And my class of youngsters who were like me, when I first started, 4, 5 years old, they would hold on to my hands. And I remember sitting once in the grass making daisy chains with them, or showing them how to make daisy chains. I think if we can say that we have a belief, whether it's in Christ, whether it's in Buddha, Allah, doesn't matter. There are many rooms in God's mansion, as they say, as Christ taught us. So it doesn't matter what belief you are. I think the most important thing is magic. So if you are celebrating some sort of a holy day, fabulous. Make it the best you can make it and have fun. If you are not celebrating a holy day, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Each to his own. But whatever else you do, I do hope that you take this opportunity this weekend to celebrate family, that you get together for a family dinner, or if you can't because of COVID, that you talk to somebody on whatever medium you have, Zoom or whatever it is. Take the opportunity to bring a little magic into your own life, and also bring a little magic into the lives of your family, especially the children, I think. My daughter grew up knowing magic. She believed in fairies for the longest time, as did I. My grandson is 8 years old, and tomorrow we're having an Easter hunt. His letter went off today yesterday, should I say, to the Easter Bunny. And we've got all sorts of little things going on. I'm going to create some sort of an Easter hunt for him. So, make it the most special you can, if you can. Even the small things. If you can't afford to buy your kids things, then make something, draw something, help them to draw something with you. A pen and a piece of paper is not going to cost such a lot, is it? Find some magic in your lives, because if you have magic, the magic of love, the magic of God, the magic of light, whatever the magic is, the magic of fairies, the magic of just having a child sitting on your knee is magic enough for me. But if you have magic in your lives, or you search for magic in your lives, you will find it. And your life will be, as mine is, so complete and so special and so beautiful that, life without magic for me isn't life at all. I've rambled, haven't I? Anyway, as all good stories must end at the end. What are you doing this Easter? What are you doing every day of your lives to make magic in your life? What are you talking about with your children, with your family, with your grandchildren? What are you talking about with the lady at the grocery store? Just a simple smile for someone is magic to them if they haven't had a smile from somebody all day. So bring a little magic into your lives. Why don't you? I hope I've brought a little magic into your lives by telling you this rambling on and on and on story. But anyway, it is Easter. So we're celebrating Easter, and it's Easter Sunday tomorrow. And boy, oh boy, whether or not the stories are true, whether or not the Bible stories are actually true or not, doesn't matter to me. The fact that, all is good. The spiritual realm is amazing. There is light in the world if we look for it, and we have magic. That's all that matters for right now. Chris, I've stopped rambling. I'm going to stop my ramble now.
It's always nice to hear a little piece of your life, Rosemary. I think everybody appreciates that.
Well, I think today, especially this weekend, I think it's so easy for us to go down that negative road. We can complain, we can be sad, we can be unhappy. It's COVID. I don't get to see my family again. I don't get to see this. I don't get to do that. And we can get so steeped in that. And believe you me, I've done it. We can get so steeped in what we haven't got and what we haven't had and what we can't do, that we forget to take joy in those precious moments where we do have, where we can do, and where we where we can make our lives magical.
Well, you had asked early on for people to tell you where they were from. And
Go
I
for it.
also want to preface, I have a lot of people in the chat room sending me healing, and I'm very grateful and thank you for all of that. So Dean's on from Wisconsin, Eric's on from California, Maggie's on, Karen's on from Kansas, Allie's on from Aberdeen, Scotland, Amy's on from Upper State New York.
Goodness me, we've got people from all over the place.
Yeah. Augusta's from Iceland. Vicky leaves a comment which I'm sure you'll appreciate. She's from the UK. She says, fish on Good Friday, hot cross buns, lamb on Monday. Does that bring
Oh,
back any memories?
yeah. Well, we used to have lamb on Sunday. You know what? The memories. One of the memories just triggered by you there, Vicky, is for some odd reason, my mother always used to buy herself a box of Turkish Delight. And this wasn't the Turkish Delight that you can buy that's sort of chocolate coated. This was a big fat cubes of jellied whatever it was, uh, with powdered sugar on. And very often, if we were sitting, for some reason or another, I have a memory of my mother sitting in a chair eating this Turkish Delight and her giving me a piece. And it was the first time I ever had it. And you could get rose scented and another, anyway, two different flavors, whatever they were. And I remember biting into it and thinking that I hadn't tasted anything as fabulous. I only got one piece, but hey, you know what? There's a negative you can turn into a positive, because boy, it was the first time I ever had Turkish Delight. And yeah, I think we used to have lamb on Sunday. It was traditional in England, I think, because it's sort of spring and spring lambs and all the rest of it. I think lamb was our thing in England. But yes, thank you for sharing those things, Vicky.
Frankie has a question.
Go for it.
Hello, Rosemary and Chris. Happy Easter to you both. I'm getting to know a neighbor. Do you see us as friends or something more? Thank you.
I think you should start off as friends and become friends. If it turns into more, that's fantastic. But don't be in a hurry. Don't rush things, because, if you're in a hurry and you fall flat on your face, you've still got to live next door to this person. Then what are you going to be doing? So take it slowly. Friendships are so much more important. So take it slow, take it steady, and learn, get to know one another. Chris.
Dean and Wendy both have comments I find very amusing. So Dean had said, I thought Rosemary had lost her mind when she said it was Saturday on April 1st.
Oh, got you, Dean.
And then Wendy replied to Dean and said, I was very confused and turned it off thinking it was a restream. I realize now it was a prank. So
Got you,
you've got
Wendy.
him. Yep.
Oh, you should never turn me off. That was funny.
Betta's on. She says, Good morning. I wanted to wish you all a happy
morning.
Easter from Italy.
Thank
And
you.
if possible, to ask Gray Eagle if he saw my beloved grandmother Hannah and tell me how she was. No problem if she isn't.
I am seeing something. I've no idea yet what it is, Betta. And it might be connected to you. It might be connected to me. I don't know. But so far, no. There's nothing that I can honestly say I can give you a direct and positive messages. Positive message here. I don't see yet clearly enough. But keep trying. You know I say that to you all the time. Keep trying.
Shaz says Happy Easter to Rosemary, Gray Eagle, Chris, and all.
Good morning. Happy Easter.
Fernanda says, Good morning, Rosemary and Chris. Nice to see you and happy Easter to you and your families. Rosemary, I have a question. How do I know my purpose in life? Why sometimes do we have so many blocks in life? Is it something that we might be doing wrong? Thank you in advance. Lots of love from London.
Well, thank you for that question. You know, Gray Eagle is the one really that we need to talk to for this. And we are doing a webinar 22nd of May, Chris. Did I get that right?
With Gray Eagle, yes.
With Gray Eagle, when he is going to be, we're going to be doing a direct voice communication. So we're going to be hearing directly from Gray Eagle. And I know that he is really good at explaining why as human beings we do have these issues, we have these blocks. I was talking to him this morning, and although I can't promise anything, I'm suspecting that he may be talking about the issues surrounding COVID and the things that we as as human beings having to live through this, the things that we can do and the way that we should view these things. And the same with blocks in our lives. Blocks are really only those hurdles that we have to climb over. And some of us have to climb over more hurdles than others, but there are many of us who have blocks in our lives because we, for some reason or another, we can't seem to get past some of the issues and some of the stuff that we have, which is on some subconscious level blocking us. We have actually put out, and this is new on if you go to the website, you'll see it on the website. There are two types of consultations that you can have now, because we've had so many people who have asked this same question. And how do I get over, my issues? What do I need to do, or what attitude should I be striving towards having in order for me to, sort of get over the issue of I can't seem to move on, I can't seem to get on. Those issues might be, and we're actually calling them life issues, because they are really, aren't they? Whether it's that you have a relationship that you can't seem to move past, whether you're in a relationship that you can't seem to change, or something about it isn't quite right or isn't working for you, or whether it's a job opportunity, or whether it's just simply you hate your job and you want to get out of that job. And when we're talking about, when we do consultations without these life blocks, let's call them, these life issues, these hurdles, sometimes, looking at it from another point of view, sometimes being able to look at it from a more spiritual point of view, or from someone like Grey Eagle, who is much more highly evolved and can see really, really clear what the issues and the problems are, can be really, really helpful to us. So, maybe you would like to think about either, either going to one of the webinars, because they are up now and you're able now to book everybody, just FYI. So we're having one of the webinars is all about giving messages from us, from Grey Eagle and myself, to anyone out there who has joined the webinar. Of course, we won't be able to give every single person a message, but we are limiting the tickets so we can give out as many as we possibly can. And so, if you do want to do that, you need to move pretty fast to get on there, because tickets are already selling. And then on the 22nd of May, we are having a direct voice communication from Grey Eagle, where he will be explaining how things work, explaining how the universe works, talking to us about the issues that as human beings we have. For instance, issues like, how do we deal with people who are different? Why do we as human beings want to ostracize? If we're, so many issues about, let me see. I'm thinking of, people now are into gay rights, but why are there people out there, and often people who are religious people, who are saying, this is wrong, or this is, and they condemn. So he'll be talking about some of those issues. He'll be talking about, the color of our skin, and the differences that we have, and how we treat other people. He'll be talking about a lot of different things, I'm sure. But so, if I also, we will be doing Mindful Monday, which is another, all the way through May, we're going to be doing something every Monday and every Wednesday, and probably every day of the week, actually, because I should be popping in and out of your lives all the way through May, because May is our 25th anniversary, which is why we're having the 2 webinars, and which is why we're going to be having Mindful Monday, and we're going to be talking about life issues then. So you might want to tune into that. And we're going to be talking about Healing Wednesdays, also talking about healing and how we can give healing to ourselves and to others. So, there are lots of things that you can do to climb over these hurdles, but rather than ignoring the hurdles, rather than climbing over the hurdles, I think it's a good thing to learn why those hurdles are there in the first place. Who put them there? Did you put them there? Did I put them there? Or are they, or did we allow other people to influence us? Or is it just simply a matter of circumstance? So, we have to figure out what the hurdles are there for, who put them there, why they're there, and what they can teach us before we can then move on from them. But trust me, we can move on from them. Once we know what they're about, we can deal with them perfectly well. Chris.
Sudipta is on from India.
Morning.
She's written to the office as well, so I'm going to condense this. She's wondering if you can give her some information right now in this short time span having to do with finances and connecting with her grandmother, and about a down payment on a property and a loan.
Oh gosh. So I will answer you briefly. It won't be nearly as much as you might need, my lovely, but Grey Eagle tells me to tell you, first of all, your grandmother is with you, but I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. She's advising, and Grey Eagle is advising, caution in what you're about to do. Do not spend money that you do not have. Do not be persuaded by somebody who will, not necessarily be there when you need them to be there. So caution is advised. Having said that, I do see a move, but do it in a way that works for you. Do not be pushed or pressured into it by somebody else and somebody else's idea of what you should do. And do not sign any pieces of paper that leave you holding the debt. That's from your grandmother. It's also from Grey Eagle. So there we are. Chris,
Shaz has a question.
warning.
Dear Rosemary, I found out 2 days ago that my sister in law has been spreading all kinds of horrible lies about me and my family.
Ah,
The depth of hatred is astounding. She scares me as she is so sweet on the outside. Do you or Grey Eagle have any advice? My gut tells me that she is very dangerous. I've never met a more cruel, vicious person.
remove yourself as much as you can. Remove yourself from the situation. Remove yourself from her. Try not to fix it because you can't. Move on from it. Allow her to be as whatever she is, as mean and as nasty as she can be. Hold on to the fact that you know that these are lies. Your family knows that these are lies. Hold on to your family. Make them your foundation and support each other. Sooner or later, boy, oh boy, she's going to come a cropper. But the more you react, the worse it will be. So my feeling to you, my advice to you, and Grey Eagle, is put his hand on my shoulder. Do not get drawn into this nastiness, my darling. Leave her to her own spite and her own meanness. Leave her to her own devices. Those who know you and who know you well and love you, they'll know the truth. And all she's looking for is to destroy. And the minute you start to buy into this stuff or to try to defend yourself or to, to say to people, it isn't true, the more you try to do that, the more she will be gleeful because you bought then into all of her negativity. So hold your head high, hold your family close, walk away from this. Um, it's difficult with family. Sometimes you will come into contact with her. This is what I tell people when we have this situation, that sometimes you have to see people. You don't have to see her at all. She might be in the same room as you, but just imagine she's a ghost. You don't see her. You have nothing to do with her. She's just a ghost. Move past her. If you have to be polite, nod, smile, move on. Do not, this is the strongest advice I can give you. Do not buy into this. Do not try to defend. Do not try to hold her up, to the light and tell people this is who she is and this is what she's doing. And do not go to her and say, how could you, how dare you, because that's what she's wanting. She's wanting to cause trouble. And the more you buy into it, the more trouble there will be. Keep your own counsel, hard as it might be for you, because all you want to do is punch her in the nose, don't you? That's all you want to do, really. But don't do that, because she's really not worth it, is she? She's just not worth the energy. She's not worth the effort. She's a ghost. Just, and I'm laughing. You see, I don't believe in ghosts, so I can say to you, treat her as a ghost, because what I'm saying to you, treat her as if she's just not there. Hope that helps. Chris.
Art DeRock is on. When you were talking about magic, they wrote this comment. They said, "This is why I wanted to contact you. Some magic, my mother said, is holding me back from moving on in life. Is there
Oh,
a possibility to get a message from Grey Eagle?"
Art, is this?
The name is Art DeRock.
Okay. It is possible. One day I'll tell you a story on our story time about a man whose wife went to somebody and put a hex or a curse or whatever it was on him, and it did work for a while. Energy is a powerful thing, and positive energy is powerful, but negative energy is also powerful. However, if you know that it's there, and if your mother has told you about this, there is a fantastic way to deal with it, which is simply to understand you are stronger than any magic that anybody can, send to you. People who do these things, who send out, put on hexes on people and so on, they're only as strong as you allow them to be. They're only as influential as you allow them to be. Now, if you don't know about it, that's one thing, but you do know about it. So, now you can fight it because you know that it's there. You are stronger than anything else. You are stronger than anyone else. Nobody else can get to you unless you allow them to get to you. People can only do to you what you allow them to do. This is from Grey Eagle to you now. Move forward. Put it behind you. It cannot hurt you unless you buy into it. It cannot hurt you unless you let it. So we're going to send you some healing. If we may, we'll put you on our healing list. So we're going to send you some lovely positive energy that will help you and drive you forward. Let it go. Let go and let God is the saying, and that's what you should do. You can break free of this. The chains are only there because, maybe your mother made you nervous. Maybe you've always thought, oh gosh, what if this is really true? If you buy into it, it will bind you. Those chains will bind you. So we're taking the chains away. Simple as that. Just let them drop. They're only there because you're allowing them to be there. So move forward, my darling. You'll be fine. Okay, Chris.
Brooks is excited. I should say Carol is excited. She's just come in from feeding the horses for the first time today, and what a beautiful Easter surprise to find you on.
Oh, here I am. Yes. Oh, that's so nice of you. How many horses do you have? Feeding the horses. My goodness. That's, you know, going to a farm is something that you could, children love at Easter time, and the weather's improving daily. Look, I'm wearing yellow this morning for Easter, for the sunshine, and for all the good things that are coming for Easter, and all the things that Easter mean to me. So thank you for sharing that. And we're excited that you're here. Chris.
I was watching a commercial last night on television where it showed the baby ducklings just so soft and yellow, and the little baby rabbits, all those things that you wish you could just cuddle up with
Yeah.
for Easter.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
I
right.
know. Well, those Easter chicks, we had years ago when I was a kid, in the neighborhood that I lived in, which was a bit of a rough neighborhood, I have to tell everybody. You know, not the worst, but definitely not the best. We used to have the rag and bone man. Have you ever heard of the rag and bone man, Chris?
No, I have not.
Well, this guy, he had a horse and he had a big cart at the back of the horse. The horse pulled the cart, and you would hear him coming through the streets, and he would shout, "Ragabone, ragabone!" And all the kids would race into the houses, and they'd ask their mums for an old sweater and a couple of old socks or an old pair of shoes. They didn't want anything at all that we could give to the rag and bone man. And sort of the rags were obviously the clothes, and the bones were any old things that you didn't want, old lamps, old shoes, old anything at all, old chairs, anything. You take them to him and you throw them on the cart, and he would actually if you managed to get something, which of course we didn't always, but it was a perfect way also for people to get rid of all the rubbish in their houses as well. And you'd go, he'd be standing in the street and be calling, "Ragabone, ragabone," and you'd take whatever you had to him. It might be an old sweater or old scarf or something, and he'd have these little tiny baby chicks, yellow, yellow, yellow baby chicks. And if you were a kid and you gave him something as a kid, he would give you a little yellow chick. It wasn't really very nice when you think back on it, because course, the chicks always died unless you had a farm and you could keep them, or you knew what you were doing with them. We'd take them into our home, or we'd play with them for the day, and there'd be little toys, and then they'd die. But anyway,
Aw.
it's the way it was. But that was sort of, I'm thinking about all those yellow chicks, and when I think of little yellow chicks, I think of the rag and bone man. We don't have rag and bone anymore, do we? We don't have rag and bone men anymore. But especially in England, if you're listening and you have, a memory of a rag and bone man, we'd love to hear it from you. Chris.
Julia says, hello, Rosemary. Lovely to see you. You are always so positive. Lots of love from the Netherlands.
Oh, Julia, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for joining us today.
All right, Mark is next. He's got a little bit of a long comment, so stay Stay seated. Rosemary, you brought me back to my youth from your story, for I too had a tough childhood because I was picked on and verbally abused by my young peers, being called derogatory names. Today, no one dares cross me with any negative or derivative names. I was recently I recently shared that I have these three colors that surround me: blue, magenta, and green, almost Easter like. The nurse who shared this said that every time she sees me, she can't help but see these auras around me. She said the green is healing, and I have this ability.
No, I would disagree. But then who am I to disagree? Maybe that's how she sees things. The blue is definitely the healing color. Magenta is a very strong spiritual color. Just it indicates, the spirituality within you, and the green is that peace and that calm that you can give to your patients as you're giving healing, Mark. So that's my interpretation. But who am I? What do I know? Chris,
Carol says, I still believe in fairies. I am going to
yay.
try to cook a ham Easter meal for us at the ranch. I hope it goes well as I'm not a good cook. Oh,
All right. Well, if you'd have asked me sooner, I would have been able to help you with that. Are you roasting it? Are you boiling it? What are you doing with that ham? The best way I think to cook a ham is to sort of get it with the skin on, crisscross it with a sharp knife, and put cloves, pinch cloves in it, put it in the oven and roast it. Oh, golly. Uh, 20 minutes a pound, I think, something like that. I'd have to look at it. I have to look it up. But on 350, 20 minutes a pound. But you have your own idea. So don't let me influence you. Go on Google, darling. You all sorts of different recipes. Roasted ham in England. Of course, this is an old fashioned way to do it. Roast ham in England, we would have with big slices of pineapple on the top. Oh, gosh. And I always used to make a roast ham for Boxing Day. We'd have roast ham. We'd have a big party, or Christmas Day in the evening. We'd have a big party and have delicious roasted ham. You could smell it from miles away. It was so good. So, oh, I wish I was at your house. Yes, Chris.
Beta from Poland's on says, lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for sharing your gift with us. It is amazing to listen to you. We are very grateful for opening your kind heart to us.
Oh, thank you so much, and happy Easter to you. Happy Easter to all of it. Isn't it fun today, Chris? Are you having fun today? I know
I
you
have
weren't
fun
feeling very
every time
great.
we do this.
Are you feeling a little bit better with
I
all
think,
these lovely people?
yeah, absolutely. Mark says, I'll be alone for Easter, but will have my fur son Gage and visit a friend who has cancer. Maybe I may be able to heal him.
Well, you know, we do when we give healing. Be careful now, Mark. When we give healing, we actually, that healing comes from a higher source than us. Put your hands on him, say a prayer for him, ask for God's help and guidance. It's not about healing a person, it's not about curing a person, it's about giving them a piece of you, giving them a piece of your spiritual self, your spiritual heart, your love, and so on, and giving them, helping them with their finding the peace that they need so much. So good luck with that, my lovely. Yes, Chris.
So now I'm getting to the point in the chats where people are all telling you where they're from. So Chris, a name I haven't seen before, is on from Canada,
Hi,
and
Chris
Nikki's
from
from
Canada.
Ontario, Canada.
Is that
Carolyn,
my Nikki?
I think so.
Yes. Uh, with Baldy, is Baldy still around? I think I read something about Baldy still being around. I'm not sure if that's the same Nikki, but keep going, Chris.
Carolyn says, thank you for the lovely story of love and magic. I treasure your teachings. She's from Nebraska.
Wow.
Um, oh, I can't pronounce this. So Art de Rock is back on. Miriam Moslem from Germany. Seeker Sukuk is called, and yes, it's very sweet. So we must have
Oh,
been talking about some kind of food early on.
food,
So they're
food.
replying.
Okay, all right then.
All right, Ruth Ann is on from Oklahoma. Dean says, my brother died 7 years ago today. Tomorrow would be his 50th anniversary. Do you think he liked my post celebrating his life today?
Well, Dean, what a question. You already know the answer to that, my darling, and you already know. But I will tell you this, he's right there with you, and you know that. So how nice is that?
He did comment also, yes, I know the answer, but others might not.
Thanks, Dean. Thanks for sharing, my love.
Carol wants to know what your thoughts are on eating meat. Is it wrong because they do eat meat?
Well, I mean, we have, you know, very often people have no choice. People who lived, for hunting and so on had no choice. The Native Americans would eat the buffalo. I don't think it's wrong at all. I think the only time it's ever wrong is if you don't feel right about it. Personally, um, I'm going to love my leg of lamb this Sunday. I think the only time it might be wrong is if it's not good for you, if it's not healthy for you, if it's not a healthy diet for you. But the natives had this wonderful thing that they did, which I always try to do if I think about it. Of course, they used to go out and sort of catch theirs. They would hunt for their food, but they would always thank the Great Spirit for giving them whatever it was that they were going to eat. So, I think it's important for us to always remember that these things, on this earth of ours, they were given to us and we should use them, but use them wisely. If we know there are only 3 pheasants living in the woods, don't go hunt all three. We just take one and be satisfied with that. This sort of thing. I think whatever it is that you want to eat, and in whatever way you want to eat it, I think it should be just a blessing that you have food. And just be aware that if there's anything wrong with it, it's my own opinion here. I don't go killing animals just for the sake of it, but we do kill to eat, for us to eat and to feed. And very often, I mean, there are so many vegetables that I cannot eat because they're dangerous for me to eat. So, I do rely a little bit on fish and meat. I had the best grouper the other day. My daughter was so stunned as to how well it tasted and how good it was. Of course, it's all in the cooking, isn't it? Anyway, I baked it. I think you should just eat whatever you want to eat. I don't think you should, if you're going hunting, I don't think you should just kill for the sake of it, because I think that would be the wrong thing to do. But if it's in the butcher shop and somebody already did it for you, I don't see why you shouldn't. And if you're going hunting, as long as you don't hunt the entire forest and kill just for the sake of it, I think there's nothing wrong with that either. I'm all for it.
So, Rosemary, we're coming right up against noon. I can give you one more question if you want.
Yeah.
Dee says, good morning, Rosemary. My friend Michelle passed suddenly earlier this week. Do you think Gray Eagle could see if she is all right on the other side? Her family is devastated by her passing. Thank you.
I'm asking Gregor, and I have a feeling that we've answered this before, but here we go. We'll do it again. I feel from maybe you could just let me know if this is not, if you don't understand this, but I feel that this was a sudden passing in a way. Sometimes even when we expect it, when it happens, we don't like it. It seems so sudden to us, but I feel in some way that it was sudden. I do feel that this I want to call her an angel girl. I don't know why, but I think that she was taken. I think she's safe. I think she's well. And I think you should try, if you can, to give that message to her family that she is safe and in the arms of her family in the spirit world. So that is that message to you. Chris, any other comments or questions before we close?
Oh, Rosemary, there's so many we couldn't play catch up.
Well, what we'll do is, and what we do is we do look at these comments and questions afterwards. We don't ignore you, all of those of you who've written, and we are grateful that you come to the chat room, and we are grateful for your questions, and we do read them through, and we do occasionally, Chris will answer some of the questions for you via email, right, Chris?
Absolutely.
So, please don't feel that we've ignored you. Just the next time around, which will be Thursday this week, right?
Yes.
Try and get it in your questions and comments early, and that way you'll stand a better chance of us answering you directly. So, all right, it's Easter. I hope you enjoyed my story time this morning. I hope it inspires you to go out and find the magic and hold on to the magic, which is the joy and the love of God, the joy and the love of Christ, especially at this time of year. We remember that. And the joy and the love that you have of all of those who are around you. And I send my love to every single one of you. Anyone out there who's thinking, but I don't have anyone to love. Yes, you do, because you have me. And anyone who's thinking out there, but I'm going to be all by myself at Easter. No, you're not. You're going to have your family in the spirit world who are going to join in with you and help you and guide you and steer you along the way. So, please, all of you, have a very, very happy Easter. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to say thank you to Grey Eagle, especially for being here with us today. And I'd like to say thank you to Chris. Thank you, Chris, even though you weren't feeling well. You did a brilliant, brilliant job, as always. And thank you to all of you for joining us. We should be back on Thursday with more from the spirit world sees all, which of course we know it does. Go to our website, rosemaryaltea.com, for more information on the webinars that we're doing in May and the events that are coming up in May that we're going to be doing. So we're going to have a whatever it is, Mindful Monday, or whatever that is we're going to do, and a Motivational Monday. We're going to do a Healing Wednesday, but I'll be popping in and out all through May. It is my birthday, and I'll cry if I want to, but I won't cry because I'm going to have a fun time. So I'll be doing some cooking. I'll be doing some popping in and out. I'll be talking to you on the beach. I'll be talking to you in my kitchen, all over the place. We'll be all over the place because we're celebrating May. It is the 25th anniversary of my very first book, The Eagle and the Rose. Can you believe that it was 25 years ago? People are still buying that book. People are still reading that book. People are still discovering that book. Anyway, so it's 25 years. So we're celebrating all the way through the month of May. So please check out on my website, rosemaryaltea.com, all one word, for any more information on that. If you wish to book a consultation or to know what that's about, if you want to know more information and you don't find it on the website, you can email Chris, K-R-I-S, Chris at rosemaryaltea.com. In the meantime, all of you out there, please find the magic for the weekend. Please enjoy the magic for the weekend, and please enjoy whatever it is you decide to do on this phenomenal and fabulous Easter Saturday and Sunday. Bring in the magic and feel it within your heart. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye, everybody.